Welcome back, everyone. I am so excited to have you all here for today's explainer. We're going to dive straight into what I think is literally one of the most fascinating intersections of geography, history, and human belief. We're going to put our researcher hats on and look impartially at the incredible source material behind a structure that has totally captivated the human imagination for centuries. The big question at the heart of all this: is this structure a natural geological marvel, or is it an actual, ancient, artificially constructed bridge? I really want you to keep an open mind with me today. We're going to examine the hard geographical and historical data together just to see exactly why this specific mystery has sparked decades of intense debate. All right, so here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the geographical mystery itself. Then, we'll explore its ancient mythological origins. After that, we'll get into the strategic plans and controversies surrounding it. And finally, we'll check out a pretty surprising historical perspective, the colonial geologist's view. Let's get right to it. Starting off with part one, the geographical mystery. Because, before we can even touch the history or the myths, we absolutely have to ground ourselves in the physical space. So from a strictly geographical standpoint, Ram Setu, which a lot of people also call Adam's Bridge, is essentially this continuous chain of limestone shoals. Think of it as a physical, shallow-water bridge. It connects Pemaben Island, right off the southeastern coast of Tamil Nadu in India, all the way across the water to Mennar Island, which is just off the northwestern coast of Sri Lanka. It's not just a concept, it's a very tangible, concrete structure sitting right there in the ocean, visibly linking these two massive landmasses together. But this seemingly quiet, remote strip of limestone out there in the ocean, it is anything but peaceful when it comes to public discourse. If we look at the source material, this exact spot has actually been the epicenter of some seriously intense political, religious, and ecological controversies for decades now. We're not just talking about a collection of rocks in the water here. It's a highly charged geographical feature that really gets people fired up. Moving on to part two, ancient mythological origins. Let's shift gears from the physical geography into the incredibly rich realm of ancient text and beliefs. It's absolutely wild how this single geographical feature holds such profound significance across completely different major world religions. On one hand, you have the deep-rooted Hindu belief. They view this structure as the Ram Setu, a bridge literally built by Lord Hanuman's Vanarsena, an army of monkeys. The belief is that this was constructed to help Lord Ram cross the ocean, reach Lanka, and rescue Sita. But then, on the flip side, in Abrahamic traditions, this exact same structure is seen as the footprints of Adam after he was expelled from heaven, which is why it earned the name Adam's Bridge. I mean, how fascinating is that? The exact same chain of limestone is claimed by these absolutely monumental, yet totally divergent ancient narratives. And here's the thing, these ancient mythological beliefs, they are definitely not just distant history for us to study in a dusty old textbook. They are actively fueling modern society today. Our sources point out that the deeply held belief in this Ramayana connection has led to massive, fierce opposition against anyone even thinking about altering the structure. This whole debate on whether it formed naturally or was literally built by Lord Ram's army isn't just an academic exercise. It's an ongoing, real-world force shaping modern politics in the region. Okay, part three, strategic plans and controversies. Now we're going to look at what happens when modern strategic infrastructure goals collide head-on with those deeply held religious beliefs we just talked about. So because the water around this bridge is in such a highly strategic spot for ocean navigation, people have been itching to dig through it for a really long time. Way back in the early 19th century, the British actually hatched a plan to dredge the channel so big ships could easily navigate the Indian coast. They weren't successful, but the idea stuck around. Fast forward to 1955, and independent India's very first government started reconsidering dredging it all over again. Cut to the modern era, and this strategic desire was completely revived as the Setu Samudram project. The desire to just cut a navigable channel right through this limestone shoal has literally persisted for centuries. As researchers, we have to look at the political reality that created. When the Setu Samudram project was proposed, it hit a brick wall of continuous, highly organized opposition from believer groups. Because these groups view the structure as deeply, fundamentally sacred, any infrastructural attempt to dredge it or break it just sparks massive resistance. This resistance triggered a fierce, full-blown national debate in India's political landscape over one core question. Was Ram Setu actually literally built by Lord Ram's Vanarsena? It really is the perfect storm, right? Modern infrastructure needs crashing directly into ancient religious preservation. Finally, part 4, the colonial geologist's view. Now, we always want to look at historical records, and the colonial British perspective here is honestly going to surprise you. Typically, as you probably know, colonial practices often involved actively dismissing native Indian religious beliefs as just, well, mere superstition. But when it came to Ram Setu, European geologists adopted a surprisingly cautious policy. Instead of just throwing out the local myths, they actually subtly reinforced the mythology in their geological writings. They took a remarkably careful, almost hesitant approach to analyzing the area. Professor Arup K. Chatterjee, who wrote some brilliant recent work on this, put it perfectly. He noted that colonial geologists took no stance on the veracity of the myths surrounding Ram Setu. They were convinced they did not need to explain whether Ram was a real person or not, but viewed the mythology with immense respect because they had no better explanation. Guys, this is such a crucial academic insight. It shows this incredibly rare moment in history where empirical science and ancient myth basically just looked at each other and called a respectful stalemate. Because the geologists couldn't confidently explain the limestone shoals with the science of their time, they opted to respect the immense cultural weight of the mythology instead. No way you see that every day in colonial history. As we wrap up today's explainer, I really want to leave you all, my fellow researchers, with this thought. How do ancient myths continue to shape our modern geography, our politics, and our fundamental understanding of the world? Seriously, think about it. A chain of limestone shoals between India and Sri Lanka isn't just some rocks in the water. It is a profound testament to the enduring power of human belief and a textbook example of how that belief directly impacts infrastructure and political landscapes to this very day. Thank you so much for joining me in this deep dive. Stay curious, keep asking questions about the world around you, and I'll catch you in our next explainer.